Salute, YTBC. What's happening? It's Boxing Nocturnal Thoughts. I got a quick question, man. Leave your answers in the comments down below. Errol Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Is it still a 50-50 fight? After Errol Spence, if he's victorious, if and when he's victorious against Jordanis Ugas, and he does go on the path to undisputed, and he's calling out Terrence Bud Crawford, is that fight 50-50? Before it was issues of 60-40, and then don't make me, come back with 80-20, etc., etc., etc. But I'm not talking about 50-50 financially, because honestly, I don't care when it comes down to the money. I know that conversation is going to come up. It is what it is, but that's not the conversation I'm talking about. I'm talking about 50-50 physically, the physical attributes, the nuts and the bolts, you know what I'm saying, the paintbrush, because boxing is an art form. Who got the best, who's going to be able to, illustrate on the canvas, be more creative, who has the better, paintbrush selection, the better stick, the better bristles, the sweet science, who has the better beacons and, Pyrex, and who has the better understanding of the elements and the way everything, the components react chemically to each other, who has the better understanding of the foot speed, the footwork, the speed, the power, the durability, the chin, the heart, who has a better guard, who has better balance, who's going to deploy the better timing, who's going to be able to dictate the pace of the fight, have the ring generalship, dictate the outcome of who's going to be able to physically. Is it still 50-50? Because going into this fight years ago, 50-50, I would look at Terrence Bud Crawford for his footwork, for how smooth, how fluid he was, the fact that he was ambidextrous and could switch from orthodox to southpaw and have power in both hands. And I would look at the straightforward steamrolling tactic of Errol Spence, who just would come through and have a very basic style that would break you down, go into the body, break you down, the non-stop, couldn't keep him off of you type of a style. Is that still the case? Who has kept their tools sharp? Who kept who's going to be in the better performance? Who's going to have the skill level? Who has gotten better? Who got worse? Who deteriorated? Who regressed? Who progressed? Is it still 50-50? We know Errol Spence had the physical setback. Did he crack some of his beacons? Did he break his brush? Did he damage? Did he dull his tools? Did he completely damage his goods? His sword will no longer be able to be as sharp as it was. Did he lose heart? Did he lose chin durability? Did he lose body durability? Did he create hesitation, or did he change his stamina? Has he regressed anyway physically to take him out of being considered a 50-50 fight with Terrence Bud Crawford? Terrence Bud Crawford, to me, I would criticize because his competition to me was never pushing him to the next level. But we've seen that, what he did with Shawn Porter. So you're only as good as your last fight. Who looked the best between Terrence Bud Crawford and Shawn Porter, or Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia? You can take all the other factors under consideration, like with Shawn Porter, retiring, and Kenny Porter throwing in the towel. And, to me, Shawn Porter just didn't train the same for Terrence Bud Crawford as he trained for Errol Spence. When he was training for Errol Spence, he was in the middle of the ring. He had the belt on that had, you know, 4 resistant cables hooked up to him that was pulling him back, so it was working on him on his foot speed coming forward, pulling him back. You know, he was training differently, like he was training in that hyperbolic chamber. When he trained for Terrence Bud Crawford, it seemed like he was more Cobra Kai training with Daniel LaRusso back in the dojo of, you know, Mr. Miyagi, with the backyard and the, you know, the creek and peace, and he was training us a little bit differently, a little heavy bag back there and a little rowing machine, but it didn't like he trained as intense. And then Kenny Porter kind of backed that up when he said he didn't train the same way. He trained like when I threw in the towel, I threw in the towel based off, I could tell in his training where he was at physically, mentally, etc. Now, Errol Spence did damage to his body in a car accident, suffered a tear to his retina, but we seen him come back from a car accident. Like, he ate a sensu bean, came back to almost 100% full health and fought Danny Garcia. He had new teeth in his mouth, and we wondering, is he going to have the same punch resistance? And we know Danny Garcia can crack, but Danny Garcia, you know, where was he at in that time frame where he was like, you know, I just really couldn't get up for the fight and train like I wanted to because of the, you know, the COVID-19, you know, that type of thing just kept me where I didn't train with the same intensity. I have to say that Terrence Bud Crawford right now, as a samurai, as an athlete, as a discipline, as an artist, as a scientist, as a boxer, as a fighter, as a gladiator, I think Terrence Bud Crawford has better maintained and trained in the art of discipline and war physically. And I think Errol Spence has had more setbacks physically and mentally. He had setbacks and comebacks. But for the fact that people still are going so crazy to see this fight, and the fact that you consider what Errol Spence has went through, still lets me know how great he is, that people still want to see him against Terrence Bud Crawford, because it looks like this fight to me still looks like a 50-50 fight. I don't know until I see what Errol Spence looks like on a scale and what he looks like in the ring against Yordenis Ugas. I just don't like the fact that he's had those setbacks, those injuries, but at the same time, I think he is a special fighter, and I think Errol Spence, if he looks spectacular against Yordenis Ugas, then looking at him versus Terrence Bud Crawford, I'm still going to be looking like this fight might be 50-50. You know what I'm saying? I know Errol Spence style. Some people already had Terrence Bud Crawford beating Errol Spence before the accident, before the injury to the eye, just based off of Terrence Bud Crawford's style, the way he can, you know, pivot, fight on the back foot, use the opponent's aggression against them. Some people just are looking at Errol Spence as one-dimensional. He should have knocked out Mikey Garcia. He didn't look that good against Danny Garcia, etc., etc. I mean, that conversation goes on and on and on. The fact is, we just won't know until we know when they fight into the ring who will come out on top. That makes it a 50-50 fight in my mind still, because I see what Terrence Bud Crawford is able to do. I see, you know, his greatness. I see his skill level. I see his reflexes, his punch selection choice. I mean, his craft. I see how he executes his ability to switch hit and, you know, just make the adjustments. He's done, like when he knocked out Agitas Kovalevskis in slow motion. That's just, to me, captivate how great he is, the way he can, you know what I'm saying, get his positioning to switch and hit you from angles that you just can't see. Not to mention the dog. I think both of these guys has heart, has nuts and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna never look at neither one of these guys as no cowards, no bums, none of that. You know what I mean? I think both these guys have some dog in them. I still think it's a 50-50 fight. That's my thoughts. I look at Errol Spence and I see what he brings to the table, what he brought to the table 2 years ago. I want to see what he brings to the table now to see he might even have gotten better. You know what I'm saying? You know, I will always look at it like the accident got to take a toll. Eye injury take a toll, but he's still young, and you know, if it depends on what he looks like against Yordenis Ugas. If he has ring rust, if his power isn't what it used to be, if his durability isn't what it used to be, if his form just isn't what it used to be, if he's not as sharp or as strong or as powerful mentally, physically, or if his guard, his shield maybe has cracks, we'll see. But if he still looks like his shield is strong, his guard is strong, his mental is strong, he's still very sharp, he's still breaking you down to the body. If he sit Yordenis Ugas down, if you sit him down on his butt, if you break him down to his guts and he knock him down, and I'm still looking at Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence like a 50-50 fight physically. I'll let y'all argue and debate about the financials. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. It's Boxing Nocturnal Thoughts. Salute. Gone.